Hi, Brandon.
Hello.
Didn't we have plans to make more lap films?
Oh yeah.
And then we just jumped into bed instead. Yeah. We could go back to making films at a desk, in a desk chair, in your lap. And then I was like, why won't you just sit in my lap? So we tried it for I don't know, 10 seconds until it was hurting me. How was your day?
Good. Good. Productive.
I just sent you a tweet or two, or three. Hashtag you're a monster.
Mm,
Do you forgive me?
sure.
You support my free speech to say so?
Of course.
Okay, I like it that you're not intimidated by that. Me standing up to you.
Well, I know it's not true. At least it's just a joke. I mean, I can be a monster, but in this context, no. I was just playing a joke on an independent, someone who calls himself a journalist here in Portland, and also showing the parallel between Antifa and the white supremacists who are out there. I think they're pretty much the same.
Oh wow, so maybe I should delete my you're a monster because now I'm starting to understand you more. You're actually opposed to the racism within Antifa.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, and that's totally lost on people. I'm glad we're making this film because now you just explained it to me. I feel bad. I'm sorry I was a jerk to you on Twitter. Oh my god. I'm gonna so delete those. Probably Econ Breakfast just screenshotted them. But oh well. Okay. Oh God. Yeah. So okay. Maybe we should talk about something else. This is pretty sensitive. So basically, there's this. We've already gone through this fun thing about pic.twitter.com/the code out of the embed code. It's about 2/3 the way down in the embed code, and if you protect your tweets are somewhat safe.
But then nobody's going to view your content unless they're following you.
Well, that's the point. If you don't want people to view your content, then you would shut down all the sharing. Guess what I figured out? The actual answer to the question might be in the terms of service. Maybe Twitter has already made us sign away that right, that our embed code allows that proliferation. Or maybe Twitter is, well, Facebook was famous for doing that. If you upload a picture, we own it. And it was like, oh gosh, why Facebook, why are you so creepy? I like how your face looks on camera. I think you're very nice looking.
You are too?
I'm okay. Wow. So Portland, to protest or not to protest? What do you think about all this protesting?
I don't think it's protesting. It's they haven't had a fight with their Proud Boy Patriot enemies for quite a while, so they're picking fights with Portland police and this fence that they can't seem to take down. So they're not really getting anything done. Something came out today that said that the cost of maintaining these protests just on a city level is like $6.7 million, and that doesn't take into account the damage that has been done at the hands of these rioters, I'll call them, and or the costs of businesses, like unforeseen costs from what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, millions of dollars, and they're already defunding the police by a significant amount, like 15 million. So we're not gonna, maybe that's the goal. Maybe just cost the city so much in police services that they don't have any more budget.
How's your rubber bullet injury coming along? Can you answer honestly?
Well, I mean, I'm still limping around. It feels all right sometimes, but mostly throughout the day, I do feel it, and there are times where it hurts a lot worse, and like it feels like when a migraine comes on, like it's seemingly just out of nowhere. Uh, it's this pressure, this strain, this twisting of a knife throughout my whole leg that keeps me up at night, has me tossing and turning.
You said it goes all the way up to your thigh, like up to the top of your thigh. And this is an injury at the base of your knee?
Yeah.
Mm.
Basically, shock waved throughout my entire leg.
And you have like this huge blue welt on the backside of your calf, and then blue bruising on the arch of your foot.
Yeah. It's the worst injury I've ever had. A rubber bullet from 5 feet away. I would say, yeah, it felt like a bullet. I thought it was a bullet.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear it.
I think they just put a little bit of rubber on a bullet for PR purposes. That's what I understand, is that it was a bullet, but the rubber softens the blow to the imagination so that people think it's like a Nerf ball. It's like a spongy, like a hacky sack or something. Oh, what else about Twitter? Anything else fun going on Twitter?
Well, all of the videos that these Cash App journalists are releasing.
I like that term, Cash App journalists.
They're basically like bleeding into each other. They all look the same. They're really short, like low quality looking videos. No real edit. It's just a portion of something with very little context. And somehow they're getting thousands of views, but they're really crappy videos, and I think we've seen enough. Twitter, let's see something new. Like, are they going to topple the fence? Is the Portland police going to finally arrest every single one of them? Like every last one of them?
I was kind of amused when Alan Kessler, that's AlanKessler, Kessler, in real life. Oh, the tweet from, let's see. Basically, from where I'm sitting, Brain Garbage intercepted a convo between the real Corey Elliott and Alan Kessler that taught Farley how to steal Corey's videos from behind a block. Both Farley and Brain Garbage should be blocked. And then they included your stalker, who we've got like his video of doing his home stalking event, the Hartnoecker's buddy Munjin Cake, the Hartnoecker, the rapist who terrorized Portland's
who's been shunned off community.
Twitter. Yeah, finally, but like Munjin hasn't expunged his tweets, but don't give interviews to. Which I brought up Hartnoecker because I felt like, wow, you've got this sort of creepy old man who's kind of like overly sexual with all these young activists, who hangs out with this rapist basically on this demonization campaign to you, but it kind of seems like he has a crush on you. And then he's hanging out with your mega stalker who's got this raging obsession with you. Econ breakfast nightly.
Sexual obsession.
So basically, yeah, they don't want you. To me, my point, I feel like, I think maybe my point was just like, don't they think about data in different ways? Like, couldn't they realize that the tech companies are, maybe they can view their tech overlords like Twitter.com is just harvesting their data. Once you put the video up, it's theirs, and anybody on their platform can use it. It's sort of digital socialism. And for these people who are like supposedly revolutionaries and against police brutality, and some of them are affiliated with like real socialism and stuff, to not even understand digital socialism and to be trying to like commodify and capitalize on the protest culture, it's kind of like, well, wow, you're trying to make small change off of it just seems like they're actually missing the point. And I don't, nobody really answered me because I sent them the film, like, steal this film about the Pirate Bay, and I don't know if they're really as interested as I was about modernizing copyright. listening to me? Brandon.
Oh, my apologies.
I'm really self-conscious about my new crown. I am, but I've just decided to go with it. And there's a gap there. I guess I should have like a. I don't wear my denture. Can you imagine I have a denture? I never knew. I was never going to wear it. He just tricked me into getting it. So you're young and have beautiful teeth and beautiful skin. How can we preserve that? Can we keep you in good shape? Hydrate you and
Exfoliate my skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we've only gone 10 minutes. What should we make this about? Oh, no.
Well, at some point, I'm going to give back to Antifa. Like, first of all, I want to donate my crutches to the next victim of police brutality, of a rubber bullet attack, because I don't think I'm going to be the only one who can't walk. And some of these people don't want to receive medical assistance because me personally, when I called for medical assistance because I needed to be wheeled off on a stretcher for the rubber bullet attack, the Portland police met with me, like instant contact. In fact, I think they had as soon as I was wrapped by the paramedic, Portland police had a case number and said that a lieutenant or a detective would contact me. So I can understand Antifa wouldn't want to call the paramedics because every time you call the paramedics, you're also calling the police for a case number, which could subject you to arrest. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Sounds pretty traumatizing. And so was the case number for the young kids, I'll call them young kids because I don't know their political affiliation, who attacked you, who tried to strangle you? Is that it for that incident report? For the people who attacked you? Or is it for the rubber bulleting or the paramedic call?
Of course, I don't think that they would, be for the rubber bulleting.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, unless...
You were being harassed and say the...
But it should be for the rubber bullet to be,
Maybe they were trying to save you. They were trying to save you by shooting your assailant, and they misfired. I'm not like devil's advocate or anything. Not like a rubber bullet.
I don't know, but we were all extremely close, and whoever it would have hit would have suffered a tremendous injury.
Mistakes were made. So basically, you took a bullet for Antifa? Maybe.
It could be that.
Yeah. I mean, whoa.
But then he directed the order to me to leave. So I think it was actually directed to me.
No, that's sad. Yeah. I'm sorry you've gone through that. Yeah. Sorry, Brendan.
Oh, it's day by day, and
day by day.
I don't know if I'll ever be back out at the protests. At least not these. But one day I'll return.
I'm more interested in like art history and music. I don't think I like politics at all anymore. Any of it at all, including protests and protesters. And especially brawls. I never liked brawls.
It is going on today and possibly tomorrow too is the sentencing of Jeremy Christian. And I think maybe that should be at least momentarily discussed.
Yeah.
It was, it was heartbreaking to hear the victims give their testimony. The woman who she got maced by Christian the day before the max stabbing attacks. She was there, and Christian blew up on her, called her let's keep it kid friendly, the B word, the H word. And he had to be ejected from the courtroom. So these victims weren't able to get directly confront this heinous person who had a mental health crisis that was started from being accosted by Michael Fletcher. So this family didn't get closure. I don't even think Michael Fletcher was there today. I didn't watch the whole stream. Watched most of it. But
Yeah, it might be noted in some of the journalism. And for people who don't know or not from Portland, Jeremy Christian was riding on a train, like a city train, in through the city train, and it was he was sort of like shouting and rambling stuff, and people became alarmed. And the person who tried to intervene um, pushed him down and ended up getting his neck slashed, and then two other people got their neck slashed and bled out and died. So it was horrifying. There was one survivor and two people stabbed to death or lashed to death. It's been pretty depressing for Portland to try to unpack that.
oops. So, yeah. Some people call him a survivor. Some people call him a victim. I prefer the term assailant or antagonist because I'm pretty sure, 100% certain actually, that nobody would have lost their life if Antifa's Micah Fletcher wasn't there to provoke the entire escalation. Because we'd seen this type of behavior from Christian before. He goes to protests, he rants, he gets his verbal aggression out, but he hasn't been known to just outright stab and attack people. This was someone experiencing a mental health crisis who felt like he was put in the defensive position after being pushed down twice by Micah Fletcher, the antagonist.
Well, and the public didn't really know that Micah pushed him down. And Micah's a much smaller, like petite, compact guy. So it is pretty stunning to see this really huge, big, brawny guy, Jeremy Christian, being just like body slammed on the floor of the train. But the media and the public and the politics prevented the public from knowing that detail, which that finally came out at a trial. And I think a lot had been, I mean, he'd been celebrated as a victim of a throat slashing with this horrible scar, and we didn't understand that component of what led up to the extreme violence.
Let's say a note that maybe the reason he was able to push Christian down so easily was because Jeremy Christian had a Gatorade bottle filled with wine that he was drinking on. So he probably drank before he got on the max and was drinking during and up to the point where the police came, and he had the knife in one hand and a Gatorade bottle, drinking.
And then like some of your Twitter trolls had got on my case on Twitter because I dared to bring up brain injury, which Jeremy Christian during an armed robbery took a bullet to this side of his face, and it just completely shattered inside his sort of like his cheekbone and created this indentation in his skull. And due to researching brain injury, I felt like, wow, this is really horrendous. Why is this not being brought up by the defense in terms of not guilty by reason of insanity or possible, like one of the progressions that can take place with brain injury is basically increasing plaque buildup that clouds thinking and judgment making, such that people with severe repetitive concussion or severely traumatic or penetrating traumatic brain injury can have there's a pronounced pattern of homicide and suicide and killing of their spouses, killing of their family members, killing of innocent people in random mood swing rages that happen as a result of brain injury. And I think because the Portland police doesn't want to dwell on the fact that they intensified what problem he already had with this skull penetrating gunshot wound he had taken, there was there's so many people protecting the story. Like, they don't want the police to take any medical liability responsibility for loosening him right back out into the world where he could face adjustment issues and not be able to succeed in his life. And maybe he needed more managed care or a caregiver or some kind of, we needed to be protected from what they had done when they maimed him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's an interesting thought. What kind of intervention could have been made to turn Christian on the right path? Maybe the bullet, if he never was shot by the Portland police, would he still have been prone to that much aggression so quickly? And you made the point of the brain plaque buildup. They can't be filtered out during some injuries to the brain, let's call it the brain garbage that's can't be taken out.
It really is. And the film Concussion, everyone should go see that. And the leading specialist who was doing autopsy on brain injured people, NFL players who died in these severe circumstances, he was noticing this buildup, and he was like, I need a word for this. I need a word for this syndrome where people spiral out of control, they lose grip, and they try to kill themselves. They're in extreme emotional distress. Like, even his outburst today was a very typical of a chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which the encephalopathy pertains to the brain, and it's a chronic traumatic condition that worsens. And the plaque buildup is actually similar to the plaque that builds up. It's different. It's a different plaque, but it's a similar mechanism of the plaque formation that accompanies Alzheimer's. So his goal, Bennett Omalu, the doctor, was to have more testing, to have the testing was post-autopsy, so it was post-mortem testing, and it was a goal, like there might be a way to, in the future, and I think he was working on this, getting testing for living beings so we can find out, like, do you have this progressive degenerative thing that's going to put you and everyone you love at risk? And it's really kind of, it was sort of sad. It was depressing listening to the sentencing, the family members crying. I was wondering if, so like in terms of de-escalating conflict in police reform movement, we'd constantly talk with, okay, for officers in a crisis, what do? Do they amp it up and pull out a bunch of guns and create a bigger crisis, like the guy with the knife who is slicing his own throat at the AA meeting? Couldn't somebody have taken the knife out of his hand? Instead, he was shot firing squad style at a shelter in downtown Portland in the presence of like 50 AA people who are all filing out politely. And it seemed kind of unreasonable to execute somebody at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And so we talk about de-escalating. And so is it fair to talk with Micah Fletcher about like what would have been an alternative method of de-escalation? But I was thinking that if they really felt that he was an imminent danger to the people that he was being insulting to, he was being verbal and grotesque and offensive, but could they have filed to the other side of the bus, which that's something or the train, I would do that. I would just get off the bus at the earliest opportunity, or the train, and or for instance, I mean,
yeah, evacuate the train. I mean, what is it, like 3 minutes between the Hollywood stop and the Lloyd Center where they were at? I mean,
or would Jeremy Christian have been more susceptible to a different type of intervention? Like, and I hate to say this, but sometimes women have a more calming effect, whereas if a male tries to intervene, the testosterone butts heads and everything escalates. And so I think when you're mixing that, that's sometimes why women can be the best police officers and social workers and nurses, because they can get into a situation and bring it down, like bring it to a calming level. I'm not trying to be sexist, but I feel like there was something just very ragey where I felt like it could have just been brought down a little bit more, and maybe that tragedy could have been avoided. But I'm very sorry for everyone who experienced that and is traumatized and post-traumatic stress and injury and pain and flashback. I can't imagine. And then, I mean, there's the reality that you try to do the right thing, and then sometimes it just goes haywire. And I think maybe so I don't know if you've been in a extremely stressful thing. You kind of go on autopilot, and maybe Micah was on his autopilot, and in his mind he was doing what he thought was right. But I don't think anyone would like being body slammed, and especially if they have a cognitive disability where they're saying whack stuff, but maybe they don't know. I don't think Jeremy Christian was capable of understanding his offensiveness.
Maybe he understood it, and that was the point. He wanted to offend. He wanted that reaction. There's a rush to him or something.
Yeah, right. That does make sense. Well, where are we? 20. That's a pretty long movie. Okay, thank you, Farley.
Thank you.